I always teach on mind, understanding the mind. And I feel that's the most important thing. That the greatest gift or greatest understanding that the Buddhist teaching as a whole, and Tibetan teaching in particular, and especially my tradition of lineage of DzogchenBeara, the great master Jaman Khyentse, DzogchenBeara, Tengu Khyentse, Nyoshi Khenpo, and all these great masters, were the highest teaching with great perfection, is about the understanding of nature of mind, about the transforming the mind. That I feel is the most important thing, and then I teach on that again and again. It's almost like the subject doesn't change, or teaching material matter. I always teach again and again because it's the most important thing. But then each time I teach, the way I teach is very different, because teaching very open, a direct, spontaneous way, and there's my own understanding develops as I evolve, kind of spiritually in a sense. The depth of understanding of these teachings grow, and then I communicate that. So those of you who are really students of mine who really study my teachings and observe, you'll see all the kind of the subtleties and or how the teachings evolve. And also something amazing, something people have done 3 retreats. They've been a long-term students of mine. Often, sometimes they say when they come to teaching like this here, that I've said something, taught something in such a way that had a tremendous impact for them, that it's opened up something that they did not hear before. So the entire teaching of Buddha, I remember Master Nugent Khenpo used to say that the entire teaching of Buddha is summed up in one statement by Buddha, which says Ranga Sem Nyongsendu, and that in Tibetan, which means Ranga means oneself, Sem means mind or heart, Yongs means complete or thoroughly, Ndul is to tame, to subjugate, to conquer, or if you want a more friendly word, transform this mind of ours. When you say transform the mind, because the mind has 2 aspects. We're talking about ordinary mind, not the nature of mind, which is perfect. A true nature of mind, as the first human Dzogchen Master Garpdoji said, that the mind is and has always been the Buddha. As you know, Utrinpoche was here. He used to say, when he was young, he used to think Buddha was a statue, because, in the temples you have big statues of Buddha in Tibetan monasteries. So then you think just Buddha is a statue. When small children will think Buddha is a statue. But when he grew up, he began to recognize that Buddha was this great master who attained enlightenment, and he's shown us the way to enlightenment. But now, as he realized that actually Buddha is one's mind. Mind's true nature is and has always been the Buddha. Or because it's such a incredible, what Garabdoji said, in Tibetan it's so succinct that when you translate, it's not enough just to say in one sentence, to say mind is and has always been Buddha is not enough. In order to make it clear, I said 3 times, Semjurangi ene Buddhate means mind's true nature is and has always been the Buddha. Or you can put it, mind's nature is and has always been Buddha, which ultimately means mind is and has always been the Buddha. Do you understand? I mean, it's amazing. When I first heard this, it was incredible. Incredible. so profound, and so simple. Such a revelation. Mind is and has always been the Buddha, and is beyond rising and ceasing, like the sky. Means it has neither birth nor cessation, like the sky. Unchanging. We are not talking about the cloud level of the mind, which is the ordinary mind, but behind the clouds, there's an infinite sky that's never ever, always unchanging. I give an example when I was in Concord. So, mind is and has always been the Buddha. It is beyond rising and ceasing like the sky. Another way of putting it, it is neither birth nor cessation like the sky, unchanging. If anything has birth, anything that's born will die. Anything that's created will destroy. Any meeting is a separation. Every gathering is, that's all what is called compounded things. Whereas the uncompounded luminosity, which is the nature of mind, is beyond birth and death, beyond rising and ceasing, unchanging sky-like nature, is the wisdom mind of Buddhas, which in fact ultimately are true nature. What extraordinary about the teaching should reveal us that our ego is not really our real nature. It's the delusory self. In fact, the delusory self has kind of usurped, you say usurped? And assume your being. And that's why it makes so many mistakes. All thing that goes wrong from you is the ego, the anger, the desire, the jealousy, all the wrongs in the world that go from ego, greed. Look at all the conflicts. It's incredible. There's so much ingenuity gone. But the mind is very intelligent, but it's misused in an awful way to harm, Anyway, so it's the true mind is the Buddha, but it's our ordinary mind with delusion. But when you realize the true nature mind, that then it can dispel. And he says that here, when you recognize the true meaning of the equal nature of all things, which are pure from the very beginning, to remain in that state without effort, searching, is the meditation at the highest level. So, the first thing about the transforming the mind, you see, the mind, in its true nature, is pure. That's why when we allow our mind to settle in a state of calm abiding, then there is peace and there's ease and freedom, liberation, and you connect with yourself in a fundamental way. And it's important through the sense of being. You settle. And as you connect with your fundamental goodness or kindness or compassion begin to exude. You connect with your Buddha nature. And from there arises, you see, very profound insight into the nature of reality. Begin to realize from that state, you begin to realize the illusory nature of all things. In fact, nothing is solid. Everything is fluid, Therefore, we must not grasp. We must not try to solidify. We must not try to stop the flow. Just simply flow with the nature of things. And be in that way. in this profound way, if you do so, then it really transforms the mind. The ordinary deluded mind is pacified and freed, thereby your own perception, even when you're not happy or even when your mind is confused, it will be transformed through meditation, through the practice of also love and compassion, and also through when you have fear and anxiety, when you make a strong prayer. For me, when I'm in Gurumchi, it's incredible. That mind that is fearful, your perception experience immediately transformed, and you find the inner refuge, the confidence, and the certainty, and also the wisdom to discern what to do. As Buddha said, all fear and anxiety come from a mind that's untamed. He said, only thing you have to fear. President Roosevelt during the Depression said, only thing you fear is the fear itself. But Buddha was a little bit more. He said, only thing you fear is your untamed mind. Whenever things go wrong, it's your mind that you need to, I put it in a crude way. Whenever anything goes wrong, when your car goes wrong, you've got to fix it. Whenever anything goes wrong, it's your mind. Fix your mind. Transform your mind. Fix is like a crude word, but transform it. Transform it. And it's a wonderful thing about His own Dalai Lama used to say, there's a great master who said that the wonderful quality of mind is that it can always be transformed. Transform the mind. So therefore, only thing you fear is your untamed mind. Whenever you're fearful of something or situation, or basically you're afraid of your mind. You're afraid of yourself. Sometimes you think people who are fearful even going out, it's just fearful mind, fearful how you deal with things. We need to work with ourselves. If we work with so that our mind becomes more pliable, we can overcome emotions, not be fearful of that. Actually, we are much bigger than our thoughts and emotions. We think thoughts and emotions are what we are, not at all. So it's very much about, transforming the mind. If you transform your mind, then your perception experience will be transformed. Because really, as I always say, when you talk about happiness, happiness doesn't exist objectively. Unfortunately, it's subjective to one's experience. So we have to work with the mind. Whether you like it or not, you need to work with your mind in order to be happy. And the wonderful thing, the great master said, wonderful thing about mind, it all can be transformed. All can. That's why I have incredible testimony of students, people who have gone through hell, who've gone through incredible suffering and difficult situations, but then when they have the teachings, incredible. There's such incredible stories of, not just stories, but real happenings of how when they have the understanding of the teachings, when they have the wisdom and the compassion of the teachings, and the trust and faith in the teachings, it really seemed to transform even most difficult situations in an incredible way and see this as a blessing. Incredible stories of liberation. In fact, many of the stories of the great masters called life and liberation. Not just life stories, how they got liberated, how they overcame. Incredible stories. And that we can be that. They are living examples of how we can transform our mind. Because it's up to us. It's a mind. Mind is the root of everything. It's the creator of happiness and creator of samsara. For example, if you fall prey to your thoughts and emotions, especially your negativity, then your mind is your very nightmare. Sometimes interesting is when certain chemicals goes wrong in the body. Sometimes, unfortunately, doctors they can give you the wrong medication. And then all the chemicals, things get imbalanced. You have no control. The good thing is to surrender to this. not fight off, not trying to be better. In fact, ironically, if we want to be better, that will prevent from being better. And then, therefore, no harm in taking medications that can relieve anxiety. There are good doctors who can advise kind of drugs. Then you can see what relates to your condition, and slowly, life becomes very simple. There's more joy, and the person watches a lot of comedies. Seem to help a lot. Comedies and teachings and comedies, so really seem to have really very simple, and it was very inspiring to see that. So it's all about the mind. As John Milton in Paradise Lost said, that mind is in its own place and in itself can make a heaven of hell or hell of heaven. Just the mind. If you know that, it's just the mind. Then really, then it's up to you. You need to work with. The Buddhist teachings are about nothing. It's not even a religion. It's beyond religion. It's a way of transforming the mind. That Dharma always says, Buddhism is about transforming the mind. Transforming the mind. You understand? And on a deeper level, you see, mind is not only the creator of happiness and suffering, but it's also the creator of samsara nirvana. Now, on the other hand, if you really know the nature of mind, the essence of my nature of mind, and then overcome your, not fall victim to your negativity or the delusory thoughts or the promptings of your ordinary mind and ego, then your mind can be the most wonderful thing, incredibly wonderful. Is that clear? Most wonderful thing. I find it so inspiring that it's really up to you. In fact, my master Jamaican said, aside from the pure and impure perception within your own mind, there's no one that binds you or set you free. You're your own master. When your mind is pure, it's heaven, it's nirvana. When your mind is impure, it's samsara. To take care of your mind. That's why something interesting. When you are in the Dharma, in the teachings, people are in the teachings, when you find somebody in the teachings, a spiritual friend, incredible that actually, that with that person you can talk about everything. You can say anything. There's understanding. They give you the space. It's very inspiring. Whereas with others, whatever you say, everything has to be, But Dharma gives you that freedom. And so, very much about transforming the mind. Your ordinary mind. That main thing is having an understanding. Because people go crazy when they don't know what to listen to, what to go for. This ordinary mind with delusion can be crazy. Not listen to that. But more it's you. When we meditate, when we contemplation, meditation, to the teaching reveals another layer, deeper level of mind, which is really you. Through that understanding brings more peace, more freedom, insight, more wisdom, more compassion, with which you can better yourself, evolve more.